Welcome to It Started Somewhere, the podcast that discovers the history behind the familiar. I'm your host, Shaimond, and today we're exploring the history of recorded music. So sit back, relax, and let's journey through time to discover how we went from live performances to having entire music libraries at our fingertips. Imagine a world where the only way to hear music was to be in the presence of the performers. That was reality for most of human history until the mid-19th century. The story of recorded music begins in 1857 when a French inventor named Edouard Léon Scott de Martinville patented a device called the Phonautograph. This groundbreaking invention could trace sound waves onto soot-covered paper, but here's the catch: it couldn't play them back. It wasn't until 2008 that these phonograms were finally played using digital imaging technology, revealing the earliest known sound recordings. But the real game changer came in 1877 when Thomas Edison invented the phonograph. Picture this: Edison, working on improving the telephone, has a eureka moment. He sketches out a device that could both record and play back sound. A few months later, his machinist, John Croce, builds the first tinfoil phonograph. Legend has it that the first words ever recorded and played back were Edison reciting "Mary Had a Little Lamb." Can you imagine the excitement in that moment? Now, tinfoil wasn't exactly the most durable material for preserving sound. Enter Chichester Bell and Charles Tainter, who in 1886 developed the Gramophone. This improved version of the phonograph used wax cylinders instead of tinfoil, allowing for more permanent recordings. Edison, not one to be outdone, quickly jumped back into the game with his new phonograph in 1888, also using wax cylinders. These wax cylinders became the first format for commercial recordings. But they weren't just for entertainment. Anthropologists and ethnomusicologists saw the potential in this technology for field recordings. In 1890, Jesse Fuchs made the first known recordings of Native Americans, capturing the voices and music of the Passamaquoddy Indians in Maine. While cylinders were making waves, another inventor was working on a different approach. In 1887, Emile Berliner, a German-American inventor, patented the Gramophone. Unlike the phonograph's vertical hill and dale groove, Berliner's device used a lateral groove of even depth on a flat disc. This seemingly small difference would have a massive impact on the future of recorded music. The shift from cylinders to discs wasn't just about shape, it revolutionized the entire industry. Discs were easier to mass produce, store, and handle. By the early 20th century, disc recordings were dominating the market. As we entered the 20th century, the recording industry began to take shape. In 1904, we saw the rise of the first recording superstars. Enrico Caruso, an Italian opera singer, became a sensation, recording for the Gramophone Company. He eventually earned over £1 million from royalties, an astronomical sum for the time. Jazz, the quintessential American art form, made its recorded debut in 1917. The original Dixie Jazz Band, a diverse group of 5 musicians, released Livery Stable Blues, the first jazz record. This marked the beginning of a new era in popular music. The 1920s brought another revolution in sound recording. In 1925, scientists at Bell Labs developed electrical recording techniques. This was a game changer. Suddenly, studios could use microphones during recording sessions, resulting in much clearer tones. The warm, rich sound we associate with vintage recordings, this is where it all began. But the innovations didn't stop there. In 1931, an English electronics engineer named Alan Blumlein developed stereophonic sound, or what we now call stereo. The story goes that Blumlein was frustrated during a trip to the cinema with his wife. All the sound came from one corner of the room. and he wished it would follow the characters across the screen. This frustration led to an invention that would change how we experience both music and movies. The next big leap came with the development of magnetic tape. In 1928, Fritz Fleumer in Germany created the first magnetic tapes. By 1935, this became the industry standard for studios. But it wasn't until after World War II that this technology spread beyond Germany. Magnetic tape didn't just improve sound quality, it completely transformed the recording process. Musicians could now record multiple takes and splice them together. They could overdub, adding new parts to existing recordings. This opened up a world of creative possibilities. One of the pioneers in this new world was Les Paul. In the 1940s, he developed multitrack recording. This allowed different instruments and vocals to be recorded separately and then mixed together. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones were among the first bands to fully exploit this technology in the late 1960s, creating complex, layered soundscapes that would have been impossible before. While all this was happening in studios, consumers were experiencing their own revolution. In 1948, Columbia Records introduced the vinyl record. Vinyl has several advantages over the previous shellac records. It provided better sound quality and was more durable. Plus, wartime shortages had made shellac hard to come by. The shift from vinyl wasn't instant. It wasn't until 1964 that commercial production of shellac records finally came to a halt. But vinyl's reign will be long and influential. Even today, in our digital age, vinyl records maintain a devoted following among audiophiles and music enthusiasts. The 1960s saw another major shift with the introduction of cassette tape. Philips launched the compact cassette in 1964, and it will go on to dominate the market for portable music. Car stereos, boom boxes, and the iconic Walkman all relied on this technology. For the first time, people could easily carry their music collections with them and make their own mixtapes. The final major shift in recorded music began in the late 1970s with the advent of digital recording. In 1976, the first commercial digital recordings were made using a system developed by Thomas Stockham and his company, Soundstream. The technology allowed for unprecedented clarity and editing capabilities. In 1976, Ry Cooder's album, Bop Till You Drop, became the first popular all-digital recorded album. This marked the beginning of the end for analog recording as the industry standard. The digital revolution reached consumers in 1982 with the introduction of the compact disc. Developed jointly by Philips and Sony, CDs promised perfect sound with no background noise. They were also more durable and took up less space than vinyl records. Today, we're in what we might call the streaming era. Digital technology has made it possible to access virtually any song, anytime, anywhere. But it's worth remembering that this convenience is the result of nearly 150 years of innovation and creativity. From Edison's tinfoil phonograph to today's streaming services, the history of recorded music is a testament to human ingenuity and our deep desire to capture and share the sounds that move us. It's a journey that has transformed not just how we listen to music, but how music is created, distributed, and experienced. As we wrap up this episode of It Started Somewhere, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for the technology behind your favorite tunes. The next time you stream a song or drop a needle on a vinyl record, take a moment to marvel at the centuries of innovation that made that moment possible. This is Shaimond, and remember, everything started somewhere. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe and rate the podcast. It makes a difference.